All right, we're live.
Good morning, everyone. It's the notorious, glorious V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live with my main man. My main man is back. El Cuco makes his eminent, not his eminent, but his return to the Starship Rogue. And we're back together again, giving you the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net. Follow us on Twitter at the Rogue Money, Rogue Money, DTube, Steam, every single podcasting app, Note to Humanity, Rogue Money on Apple News. We're everywhere you want us to be, and then some in a bag of chips. Also, check out our sponsors, RemainCalm.net, RemainCalm.net. Don't freak out, Remain Calm. And also check out thecryptoschool.io, thecryptoschool.io. These guys are crushing it. These guys are killing it. Hundreds of percent in profits in return. Just amazing on the trade. Just unbelievable. Join the trading room. And if you don't know anything about cryptos, you want to learn, just go to the school. There's a one-time fee of $297. Gives you a lifetime membership to the school. And folks, there's a difference between the school. Okay, the school is for newbies. The trading room is for those that are more experienced. So if you don't know jack about cryptos, don't go in the trading room. That's not a good idea. Okay, not a good idea. Just go to the school. Newbies start there and click on it. There's a plethora. I think there's over 20 some odd videos and training manuals, everything that you need to get started. Thecryptoschool.io. With that out of the way, Siege.
What's up, B? Good to be back.
You went from paradise, you're back to the Arctic tundra, bro.
Back to the Arctic tundra. I got off the plane last night. I'm like, where are my pants? Where's my jacket? It's like 30 degrees, chance of snow tomorrow. But that's okay, B. That's how we roll, right? I mean, we've got to prepare for all types of different weathers, all types of things, storms ahead of us. Because we know April.
I'm getting tired of the cold, Siege. I'm getting older. I'm more introverted. My joints hurt more. I'm getting old, man. And I don't know, brother. I don't know. I mean, aren't you sick of the cold?
Yeah, it gets old. Yeah, the cold weather. Yeah, it does. I mean, get up in the morning, you're aching, your body, and just it takes its toll. Definitely does.
It definitely does take its toll. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm glad you're back, my man.
It's good to be back. Great to be back. Had a great trip. It was good. It was a good time to relax, refresh, and come back and ready to hit it strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, let's where do you want to start, bro?
You take it where you want to go, bro. You take it where you want to go.
Let me see here. Well, let's start with the let's do something that you picked. Okay, let's talk about the blatant disregard against the administration as more U.S. forces arrive in Manbij.
Excellent.
U.S. sets up a new frontline positions in Syria's Manbij. Oh, God. Here we go. The military incompetent complex is at it again, with more U.S. troops arriving in the Syrian city of Manbij. In recent days, more and more troops are setting up frontline positions around the city, fortifying the areas in anticipation of a threatened invasion by Turkey. This is just BS. U.S. troops at the front line had previously been little more than a single house with a U.S. flag on it, surrounded by Kurdish YPG. Now the U.S. and the Kurdish forces have sand barriers and barbed wire positions, new watchtower and armored vehicles. Turkey intends to seize Manbij, and I said that they will do so, even if it means going through the U.S. and British forces deployed in the city to back up the Kurds. The standoff continues with repeated threats, but no... with no repeated signs of fighting is imminent. The time is also interesting in the week since President Trump began talking withdrawal from Syria. At that time, a substantial number of new U.S. Special Operations Forces arrived in Manbij, and now they're setting up positions along the front line, digging in for combat, showing no signs of leaving. These guys are idiots. Look, here's the deal. Here's what the U.S. Special Forces are going to do. They're going to hide out in their house, and they're not going to do nothing. They ain't going to do nothing. They're not going to do anything. You know why? I'll tell you why. Do you think the U.S., which has screwed up everything and everyone in the last several decades. The U.S., which has thrown allies under the bus, risked an entire region, actually risked an entire continent of Europe, risked them from going into complete energy chaos with the cutoff of the Russian gas supplies, which Russia still supplies. Okay, the U.S. demanding that all of it stop. Blah 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 blah. These morons, a little cadre of like 15 to 20 U.S. spec ops soldiers and a bunch of Kurds are going to hold back the Turkish army. Are you kidding me? Folks, what's going to happen is this little U.S. contingent, excuse me, is going to hold themselves up. They're going to barricade themselves in that little house they have set up for themselves, little housey. They're going to bake some chocolate chip cookies. They're going to put on a game. Probably play some Call of Duty while they're there. Set up the Xbox, fire it up. Play some cards, maybe some poker. And they're going to let the Turks go right around them and take out the Kurds. There is no way in hell, okay? It would be an odd day in Mecca if the Sultan, the resurrected Salahuddin, a.k.a. the turd in the hummus bowl, a.k.a. the political doner kebab himself, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, okay? If Erdogan is going to allow any sort of Kurdish state to exist anywhere near the Turkish borders, it's just not going to happen. And this is the stupidity of it. I've tweeted this out months ago, where I said any sort of a Kurdish state that is set up will be foolhardy. It will be dismantled in a matter of weeks by not only the Syrians, but also the Turks and the Iraqis and the Iranians. Nobody wants the Kurds to have their own state. Why? Well, the Kurds never had their own state. There was no Kurdistan ever. The Kurds have always been a nomadic tribe that's been hither and yon and thither and there. And there are Kurds that are scattered all throughout the Middle East and in Persia. There's Kurds in Germany. Okay, should the Kurds in Germany break away and create their own little fiefdom inside Deutschland? Of course, that sounds stupid. It sounds silly. Well, that is in effect what the Western idiots, these masterminds of nation building, are trying to do. Folks, it's easy to read news like this or hear news like this and think that we're on the cusp of war. This is just grandstanding. This is political. This is military grandstanding at its finest. This is a boat. The U.S. military escalating or doing something is a boat that has long since sailed away. Nothing's going to happen. And this, again, if the U.S. was smart, and Trump knows it, just like Trump saying, hey, listen, let's just withdraw out of Syria. Why? Because we're going to look like idiots staying there. We ain't going to do nothing. We're not going to escalate a greater escalation of war there, even though these sycophants like the maniacal mustache, he probably has a bottle of Bengay ready to circle jerk himself. There's a bottle of Bengay, CJ. Maniacal mustache, John Bolton. He uses Bengay. This guy, he's such a crazy maniacal war monger that he uses Bengay as a type of lubrication. Okay, so anyway, the circle jerking moron, Bolton would love this. The Bolton would want something like this to escalate, and so would the pompous Pompeo, and so would the idiot Waffle House waitress Nikki Haley. The three stooges of apocalypse would love to see some sort of an escalation in Syria, but it's just not going to happen. It's a boat that has sailed.
Right. Let's hope it's just a cleanup, V. Let's hope it's a cleanup in there, remove documents, do whatever they need to do, because, this is one of those signs to me, V, that something that we've been talking about for a long time, that, show us a sign, give us something, give us some proof that that the deep state hasn't totally seized all operations, and a troop removal from Syria could potentially be one of those milestones reached. That okay, we've turned the corner. We're heading towards some sanity in foreign policy and a de-escalation. I mean, come on, what's left? And you're absolutely right with the neocons and their hopes for some type of escalation in Syria. I don't see it happening. So let's hope this is just a cleanup. Getting ready for an exit. Gus said last week on last Thursday's show that this is one of those signs that he's watching as well, because we know this is particular. One of those Obama era last living of his legacies of the creation of ISIS. So we'll just have to see where it goes, V.
Yeah, exactly. I think what is being done. I think you're right. I think this is a dust up. I think that, because this is the equivalent of the KGB at the collapse of the Berlin Wall. What were they doing? No, they were in their headquarters. They were in their outhouses. They were in their in-houses. They were in their little consulates. And what were they doing? They were just shredding papers, burning things, getting things deleted. Dust up. Why? Because it's an international embarrassment. But the funny thing is unlike the KGB, everybody in the world knew at that time. Everybody in the world pretty much knows who's behind ISIS. Everybody knows it's the U.S. deep state. It's the British deep state. It's the Israeli deep state. We all know this. Okay, so this is just it's no business that we have there. Let's get the hell out of there. Let's pull our guys, bring them home. Pull our guys out of the 900 stinking bases we got out there. So you can't say you support the troops, and you're constantly putting them in harm's way. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Siege, the attack against humanity continues. Seems like Bayer Pharmaceuticals is going to be buying out Monsanto. What's going on there?
This is something that, and I don't know why we continue Monsanto to operate with their genetically, modified crops. Their glyphosate that has been linked to cancer. But now what's happening, V, is that 2 studies from Europe show that the number of birds in agriculture areas of France has crashed by 1/3 in just 15 years, with several species being almost eradicated. The collapse of the bird population, basically goes on, V, to state specifically with glyphosate linked to this chemical produced by Bayer. It's a very dangerous combination. And on March 21st, the EU approved the $66 billion merger of Bayer and Monsanto, the U.S. agriculture giant that produces Roundup and genetically modified seeds that have reduced seed diversity globally. The merger will make the Bayer Monsanto conglomerate the largest seed and pesticide company in the world, giving it enormous power to control farm practices, putting private profits over the public interest. In a 26 survey, it was shown that the majority of Trump supporters did not approve of this particular merger. And we've seen a couple of these mergers this year. This past year, we witnessed Dow Agro consolidate and merge as well. And when you benchmark that against what other countries are doing, let's take a look, for example, at Russia. In Russia, for example, they've actually banned genetically modified seeds. They have banned Monsanto from operation.
Look what they did in Hungary, bro. When in Hungary, I think it was Hungary, when they found out that Monsanto had some germinated seeds out in a plantation field, what did they do? They burned the whole field. They burned all their GMOs.
Yeah,
dangerous crap, man.
Yeah, these seeds that they produce and they grow, they eventually take over all other seed hibernation. It takes away the actual seed population of diversity. That's what it alludes to, and most people don't understand this. So, for agriculture and for these companies to continue, planting these seeds here, in particular, like in the United States, it's very dangerous, and it's been linked. The glyphosate. Most people who think that they suffer from some type of gluten, intolerance from wheat. It's not in particular the gluten. It's the trace elements of glyphosate that are screwing up people's intestines, leading to the massive amounts of digestive issues, cancers that are occurring. I mean, this glyphosate should be banned in the United States. There's no doubt about it. But then to see these two giants come together like this, it's just an ugly sign.
I think it's the best thing that could happen to Bayer. I'm glad they bought out Monsanto.
You think
Bayer, aka IG Farben from World War II, if you guys don't remember. Bayer, the producers of Zyklon B gas, which was used in the concentration camps. Okay, Bayer Pharmaceuticals. Okay, their move of buying Monsanto is so stupid. I'm glad this is not only this is going to kill two birds with one stone. This is going to kill Monsanto and it's going to kill Bayer. Now people will say, well, why is that? Well, number one, there is a massive global awakening. Everybody is keen to the game. They're keen to the scheme. They know about GMO crops and how bad it is. They know about glyphosate. They know about so many of these harmful chemicals that are in these products that are absolutely devastatingly harmful for human consumption. Okay. Bayer goes ahead and buys Monsanto. Monsanto, who was literally cratering financially. Monsanto, whose stocks were diving. Monsanto, who was in such financial trouble. Monsanto, that is over leveraged on so much debt that what Bayer did is they took on all of Monsanto's cancerous, toxic debt. And that debt is now going to metastasize all the financial woes, all the problems is going to metastasize right into Bayer. And again, this is the problem I see repeated over and over and over again by CEOs and banksters everywhere. And what is that problem? They cannot recognize. See, men and women who are so inured by the system, they're so trained and conditioned like Pavlov's dogs to work in a quote-unquote risk-free corporate environment. Okay, a vertically integrated corporate environment, which its only goal is to mitigate risk. What occurs again and again and again, you see this in banking, you see this in Wall Street, you see in pharmaceuticals, you see it in a lot of these large industries. These companies go into utter failure. Their CEOs and their leadership, they basically crater. Why? Well, they're so damned risk averse and so risk trained that they become it becomes impossible for them to detect randomness and chaos and change that occurs within their respective markets. They don't catch it. So these idiots buy Monsanto thinking, oh, we are going to buy this Monsanto. We are going to make them part of our company. We are going to expand the seed production. Nine. We will succeed. And what happens? They think they're going to become the largest conglomerate of seed. They're going to corner the market on agriculture. While what's happening in agriculture? There is a massive shift to the move of organic farms, organic and natural farming. And folks, people that are involved in the organic and natural foods industry are seeing such a spike in the amount of people that are coming over. This is the equivalent. Monsanto buying Bayer is the equivalent of McDonald's buying Burger King. Okay. It at the end of the day doesn't matter. Nobody's eating McDonald's slop. That's why their stocks are plummeting. They're crashing. They're burning. No, why go to McDonald's when you can go to your local deli and get a better sandwich? Why go to McDonald's when you can go to Chipotle? Why go to McDonald's when you can go to friggin' Five Guys, baby? Yeah. People
like Five Guys.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love Five Guys. They want fast, fresh. That's what people want. And nobody's going to be going to McDonald's. You know? People with money ain't going to be going to McDonald's. People who, I mean, let's be honest, Siege. I mean, what's a friggin' McDonald's value meal these days? I bet you it's within $1 or $2 of a Five Guys meal. People go to freaking Five Guys. That's why Five Guys are killing it. Chipotle's killing it. They're crushing the competition.
Yeah, I agree. People are definitely waking up. I mean, several of the McDonald's here locally have reduced and rolled back, their hours. There for a while, they had that huge push for 24-hour drive-throughs that are open, and they've canceled that for the most part. And then we have a local McDonald's, and I know that there's thousands, throughout the world. However, when you drive by a V, you see maybe one maybe 2 cars in the drive-through during peak time. So yeah, I agree. Humanity is totally waking up against this and understanding. And I didn't even realize he had written this book, but also in this article it states that Seeds of Destruction, the Hidden Agenda of Genetic Manipulation, William Engdahl, who we've had on before, why this is important for our listeners, and obviously they get it, is because the huge globalist philosophy is not only control us in finance and banking, but also in the infamous notorious words of Kissinger, is that when you control the food, you also control the people.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and can't do it now. It's people want natural foods. I mean, my supermarket locally, a big chain over here, they shut down, remodeled, and they are very whole food-esque now. You go in, it's all local farm products, farm to table, it's all organic. You see, this is like what Bayer did is equivalent of a large, office, supply companies buying out the largest typewriter manufacturer at the advent of the personal computer. That's the equivalent of what Bayer just did. Yeah, we will buy them. We will buy them. We will buy all the typewriters. Who needs personal computers? It's the same thing. It's like, they're moving into typewriters while the world's moving into computers. They're moving into, having yes, we will buy the stable of horses. Who needs the cars? Right? It's like they're buying like horse stables all throughout the world when everybody's moving to cars. That's Bayer. I love this move. Thank you, Bayer. You're just going to implode yourself, and it couldn't happen to a nicer group of scumbag Nazis like you. It couldn't happen to a nicer group of Nazis. One Nazi organization, Bayer, buys another Nazi organization called Monsanto. One Nazi organization that's made Zyklon B gas. Okay, one Nazi organization that has I think one of their vaccines, they actually put AIDS vaccines in some sort of I think it was a huge scandal with Bayer. People went to jail. It was a huge criminal thing. They infected people with AIDS. Bayer, knowingly. This is great, you criminal scum Nazis. I love it. May you implode. This is how stupid you people are. Stupid. The world does not belong to mega corporations. This fast-paced world, CJ, you look at it, these large corporations cannot keep up, number one. Number two, they're always late to the party. Number three, they are being hurt. They are being taken down by what? Disruptors. And as the world becomes more multipolar, the propensity and the sheer probability of disruptive new technologies and disruptive companies coming on the blogosphere, coming on the world itself, you're going to see more of it. And it's going to challenge the very foundations of most of these large corporations. It's a beautiful thing, bro, to be alive. It really is.
Yeah, 1,000%, V. 1,000%. Humanity is definitely waking up to these companies, waking up against the dangers of vaccines, and to be alive during this time period. It's just amazing to be witnessing this.
Yep. The Soros-led human caravan of waste has come to a halt, Siege, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you want to break that down, V?
Yep. The giant caravan of human refuse that has been crossing across the Central America region from Honduras, illegally crossing through Mexico in the hopes of illegally crossing into the U.S., has ground to a halt as over thousands upon thousands of migrants begin their fourth day camped out at a Mexican sports arena. And see, the latest reports are some of these people are literally going back to wherever the hell they came from, Honduras. And the other funny thing is, Steve, is the nerve of these people. Okay, the nerve of these people is not only do they want to come here to the United States, not only are they demanding that we provide them a job, that we provide them housing, we provide them food, But at the same time, that we also have to go to the Honduras and fix their country. But they don't want to learn English. They don't want to learn our culture. They don't want nothing. See, they want to suck off the teeth of America. No. I've said this before, and if it offends you, I recommend again you have yourself a reality check, because this is the way it is. You cannot take populations of people that have sub 90 IQs, bring them into your first world country, and expect them to be contributing productive members of said society. Just doesn't work out that way, folks. But what happens is they will turn your country into the shithole from whence they themselves have escaped. So I'm glad this is backfired heavily, and I know the National Guard has been mobilized to head over to the border. That is confirmed. The military is on its way. And Mexico's eating crow. All the globalists right now are eating crow. So that's a good thing, Siege. Another good news to report, huh?
Yeah, great news to report. And
what is this, man? It's like you come back, there's nothing but good news now.
Maybe the press got a little bit of a vacation as well.
I'm in a better mood now that you're back.
Yeah, go for it. Hey, real quick, also, just want to give a shout out to W and Bankster Slayer. They email circulating yesterday, and
it's phenomenal.
W reminded us that this whole Honduras and the mass migration of rooting people up from their homeland came in part was due to then former Tim Kaine, who was Hillary's running mate back in the election, and he in part was responsible for this amount of migrants that due to his work with the ministry, that he worked in a gated community with a subsidiary of United Fruit that had generously sold their company Retreat to the Jesuits and its headquarters, and in part with the Canadians as well, removed several of these people from Honduras from their properties illegally.
Yep.
In the range of trying to go for this dig for gold, these mines that were created, also setting up potentially vacation areas. So their actions in Part V were directly responsible for why every year there's this mass migration of Hondurans trying to attempt to escape was in part due to the liberal agenda with Tim Kaine and the Canadians.
Yep, that's the whole thing. And the Canadians, specifically Barrick Gold, which is a notorious globalist company along the veins of Glencore. So that's the whole entire story, the background behind that. There's more details. So maybe we should get a hold of W. Maybe he'll come on Monday. Maybe.
Yeah, it's time. It's been a month. Yeah, we definitely need to get him
on. Let's have him talk about this.
Okay, absolutely. Let's do it.
W was there. He was there when that whole crap was happening. So. Great story, great perspective from the man himself about that. So yeah, definitely have him on. What else, brother, man? Let's cover one more thing and we'll hop off.
Why don't we take a look? Charles Hugh Smith, we didn't get him on in March. We'll get him on in April. He was in transition for a little bit, and so we will definitely get him back. But he had a great article posted at Of Two Minds blog V that specifically goes through all the marbles and what we're faced with currently economically.
Yeah, my man Chuck, Charles Hugh Smith is the man. twominds.com is the website. Playing for all the marbles. Current stocks and bonds game is for all the marbles, by which I mean the status quo now depends on valuations and interest rates remaining near their current levels for the system to function. Charles is absolutely right. The electronic duct tape, folks, can only be maintained when you have set parameters, set variables at specific numbers here. If the interest rates soar and or stocks plummet, the game is over. Pension funds collapse, tax revenues drop, debt based on high asset valuations, defaults, employment craters. The much lauded quote-unquote wealth effect, as I like to call it, the wealth phantom effect, reverses into negative wealth effect, i.e. everyone looking at their IRA and 401k statements feels poorer every month. Now, let's get on the few relevant charts to understand why this game is for all the marbles. Given the systemic fragility of the global economy, a crash in one asset class or a rise in interest rates triggers defaults, sell-offs, etc. that forcibly revalue assets. So the powers that be can't afford to let any asset crash, as a crash will bring down the entire system. Folks, why do you think I've been telling you, and my man Dex, the Algo Capital, has been telling you there's not going to be a stock market crash? It's going to implode up. I've said it again and again. We're going to have a 30,000 point Dow. We're going to have a 29,000 point Dow, but with a broken, fragile, and impoverished economy. Again, that is predicated. This is not some prediction I'm giving you. This is predicated on variables. The variables that if we do not get a physical economy up and running in this country, we are doomed. It's that simple. And some people are like, hey, V, how come you don't give predictions anymore? How come you don't give predictions anymore, V? How come you don't? Because it's simple, you moron. Everything I've predicted has already come to pass. Boom. Or it's in the process of passing. So there's no more predictions anymore. Now things have gotten so damn chaotic, nobody can predict anything. You understand? The only thing I could definitely predict is what the algorithms are doing. The algos say, it's the go-go 90s, or whatever the sell-offs, temporary sell-offs in Wall Street. These are sell-offs in order for the big boys to take some profits, and they'll come back in. They'll come back in after April, okay? And you watch the stock run up, setting us up for the summer. We're going to set some new records in the stock market. I see Dow 27,000, 26 to 27,000, this summer. And then a correction again coming in the fall, okay? And then another run-up as we hit closer to 29,000. That's the way it is. Now, they will pump out all the fake numbers you mean that you could, poke a stick at. The point is this, folks. All the numbers that are coming out is fake. It's fictitious. You can't base your life on it. You can't base any real economic activity on it. That is for certain. That's why when I look at what's going on in America economically, I like to look at it from the outside in, which is what's happening globally, okay? So this is why, again, Charles laying it out perfectly, why they said that the powers that be, they cannot afford to let any asset crash, as a crash will bring down the entire system-wise. So the resiliency of the system has been eroded by permanent central bank and central state interventions and stimulus. Withdrawing the stimulus means markets have to go cold turkey, and they've lost the ability to do so. Permanent stimulus creates dependencies and distortions, which we've seen here. It's impossible, folks. It's absolutely impossible. I've said this a billion times. There is no more mark to market. It just doesn't happen. There's no proper evaluation can be done. How else does a friggin' company that makes nothing, like Facebook, is valued more with their market capitalization, valued more than ExxonMobil? It's the stupidest thing in the world. In effect, markets have been hijacked to function as signaling mechanisms. Everything's great because your IRA account balances keep going up. And as the floors supporting pensions and insurance companies, IRAs, 401ks, etc., all these financial promises are only plausible if asset valuations keep rising. Flying the omen number one, equity valuations have lost touch with the real economy as measured imperfectly by GDP. And folks, you know about the GDP numbers here because it's mostly reshuffled debt. Okay. Flying the omen number three, Charles says all stimulus was borrowed. So global debt is rising to unprecedented levels. Just extend the upward sloping lines to get the current debt totals. Okay. Flying the ointment number four, Charles says wages for the top 5% have risen smartly. And this is the same slice of households that own the vast majority of financial assets, meaning the bottom 95% are seeing declines in real wages or gains, so modest that they barely register, and if only official inflation is distorted down to the near zero. I mean, it's craziness, man, and Charles really lays it out so well in this article, CJ.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant chart because if our listeners understand that the dollar, our money, our income is not going nearly as far as it did 10 years ago, this is why. So this flying the ointment chart 4 is important to understand that when you benchmark and you back out, so if you adjust wages to account for real world inflation, everything from health insurance to the grocery store, that on average that we have received a gargantuan $4 a week increase since 2000 when you back that out. But yet the people the money managers who manipulate this economy, their real wealth has done nothing but skyrocket. Yet for the 95% of people that we've been struggling and in decline in real wages since then. And that's such a true story right there in itself.
Yep. Absolutely, man. 1000%. See, with that being said, bro, any other announcements today? What do we have lined up today?
Yeah, it's I'm gonna get. I'm back to work today, so I'll be getting some interviews lined up. We'll definitely get W on today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Hanging with Harley Schlanger, and then this afternoon closing the day out 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cuss with Gus. So Gus will be back on, and we're excited to have him as well. So big day here at Rogue. So stay tuned. Check out RogueMoney.net. Also have a couple of articles be going up on Rogue 420, and stay in tune. We got a lot of great things happening this year for Rogue, so be excited to be back in the saddle and ready to hit the ground running this week and going strong.
Absolutely. And with that being said, folks, we are over and out. Take it away, El Cuco.